glad to have you here today. Those of you that are joining are going to have a great treat because I've got Marcus ChristoLight here joining us. And we're going to talk some more about, well, some more meaning this next episode is going to be about more of our gifts, our talents, our skills. Whether you call them spiritual or not, they're your gifts and they're your talents. They're what you do and what you do well, regardless of how you got into them. If you're doing it well and it's for your highest and greatest good, who knows? Maybe they are spiritual. Maybe your gifts and talents and career choices were opened up before you even knew about your higher beingness. So we're here to talk about our gifts, our talents, and how we use them in our everyday life and in the life of service. And Marcus, are you ready? Because I'm ready. It's a deep
Yeah,
dive. No matter where we
absolutely.
go, Marcus, it's a deep dive, right?
Got that right. No matter if it's about, raw, whether it's about our personal lives or about the collective, we definitely we definitely deep dive every time, that's for sure. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm so grateful that Marcus is here. He's had a busy week. He's done some retreats. The 888 portal has been going like wild, right? And however that energy has pulled on you or you've pushed against it, we're here to have a conversation. We're here to just kind of go with the flow. And if you need to take a breath in and a breath out, let's do it. Marcus is the perfect person to do that because he gives some really great guided meditations. And I'm going to ask him, hey, I'm just going to open it with that. I believe it's one of his gifts, but we're going to ask him if he believes it's one of his gifts. All right. So let's get going.
Wow.
All
Thank
right.
you so much for that opening. And thank you for allowing me to be here. Um, phew, my meditations. So I started out my meditations with just learning from a friend of mine. And my friend at the time, back in this was around 2014, he was a Reiki master. He also had gone through shamanic practices as well. And I hung out with him about every day during this time period. And he started teaching me meditation as well as breath work and the chakras. And the more that I continued to practice meditation, whether it was with him or at home in my own time, I would find myself being able to handle my emotions and my mind in ways that I was struggling with or struggling to achieve. And with that being said, I'm someone that has a very passionate energy inside of me. So that passionate energy can quickly turn into frustration or anger if I am not clearing out the parts of me that would contain it into a vibration of anger or frustration. So before I had any practices that I was practicing or anything that I was utilizing consciously to be able to navigate and ground my anger and other things, I was struggling with that. I would quickly be irritable. I would quickly be short fused if I had to repeat myself and other things like that. So what I found is the more that I was doing these meditations, balancing meditations, I found myself way more grounded, way more calm, way more, so to say, more in the observer when it came to feeling my emotion. my emotions to override and take over, it was as if I was grounded and I was experiencing the emotions, but I was detached from it to where that emotion could just flow through as it needed to. And I would receive the messages or the wisdom from that emotion while allowing it to be able to flow and release as it needs on its own. So that's one thing I saw different by consistently practicing guided meditations. And even to this day, I just started with using guided meditations on YouTube. There are thousands and thousands, probably millions at this point, of guided meditations that we can all listen to every day. All sorts of different varieties, different archetypes, spirit guides, frequencies, intentions, and purposes. And the more we allow ourselves to be open to what it could do for us, then there are many layers of ourselves as well as different parts that we can heal, that we can bring into balance through a practice like meditation.
May I
And to
ask
my
one
own self,
question?
what's
May I
that?
ask one question while you're on that? When I first
Hmm.
started to try to find those guided meditations, right? It what I found was there were so many of them. Like you said, there's many of them to choose from. When you're a novice at it, what's the easiest what would be the number one type of go-to meditation if you're a novice? I don't know, maybe you're anxious, or just the overall anxious or frustrated or just even mad. What would be the number one go-to type of meditation that maybe you tried and you would say, hey, go start with this one?
So, okay. Well, I intentionally created my own that
Oh,
is just 10 minutes, and it's a quick 10-minute chakra attunement. So I myself produced it. I use frequencies for each chakra, and then I go through affirmations through each of the 7 chakras, guide us through the meditation as well with the breath. And
okay.
that's something that anybody could start with if they would like. And it's just 10 minutes long. It's on my YouTube channel. And it's also a good way to learn affirmations and learn about the different qualities or the different characteristics of the 7 chakras as well.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, because when I first started to do it, I mean, before I started to have I guess, a soul family that started to, uh, uh, help me become learned in it. Is that the proper word? That there were different ones and different hurts and whatnot. I do know that there are just a lot of people who they haven't yet got to that part where they're um they're not like at the I'm an awakening, in that awakening moment. They're using it for, oh, I just need to chill, I just need to, kind of thing. So did you find that when you started to do this as one of your gifted skills, did it did you only offer it to the spiritual community, or it was to everyone that would click into your YouTube world? I guess, is that the right, you know?
Okay. So so you're asking when I basically came aware that it was a gift that I could do something more with?
Yes. Regardless
Okay.
of if you're, most people in the spiritual community, we think everybody has to have this awakening moment or this dark night of the soul or whatnot. When even though because we've had the conversation, I know what your dark night was, and I know what what you've been through. But for those who might not have been through the nitty gritty of it, but they're in the world and they're having a hard day at work. And I know this before I thought that, anything about my spiritual awakening. I was on the, trying to just take a chill pill from work, being a single mom from work and the kids. And I would, go online and try to find a meditation or whatnot. And, did you have those moments where you had to look at what you could do? Not that you knew it was a spiritual gift. You might have found that out later, but a gift that you could give. And this was I know you're musically inclined as well. You want to gift this to the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know where?
Yep. Okay. So, as I was going back into the story, so 2014 was when I started becoming aware of practicing meditation. Okay. And then it basically was like a gradual progression for me with spirit, so to say, and the way that I was utilizing meditation. So it began with, learning it and then practicing it on my own. And then I would start doing it at home by myself and seeing how the results would be and type of things I'd experienced. And then from there, I started doing it with some of my closest friends that were already into, spirituality or meditation or open to it. And I would see positive results with doing it with them. So then from there, I then started doing it on Instagram Lives. And I also would do it on Zoom calls as well. And this was probably around, I would say, 2000 and maybe 2017 or 2018. Yeah, I'd say 2018 was when I started doing these guided meditations on Instagram Live as well as on Zoom. And those would just be like free donation just to kind of practice the meditation. And again, it would just be a positive effects happening for people every time. So then from there, around 2019, I would say, that was when I started moving into trying to record my meditations.
Okay.
And actually, before I even move into that time period, one of the biggest moments of my life that really solidified for me that this was a gift to share was when I had went to prison for a year in 2017. So my past self, I was involved in the street life, basically. I was selling different substances, and I was always on different substances a lot as well. So long story short, I ended up getting set up, and I sold to an undercover. And then due to that, I then faced prison for a year in 2017. And while I was in prison, keep in mind, I had already begun learning Reiki and the chakras and meditation and all these different things going all the way back to about 2015. So about 2 years of these spiritual practices, but I also was still dealing with my addiction behaviors.
Okay.
Those addictive behaviors landed me into prison. But then when I got into prison, what happened was I ended up using these practices and using these gifts, not just for my own self, but I started teaching it to others.
Right.
And out of my whole stay, I ended up teaching personally, one-on-one, the chakras and guided meditation to about 8 different inmates. And then we would go out to the softball field out on rec, and we would sit out there in our bare feet, sit in the grass. And you got to keep in mind too, like, this isn't a prison setting where, before the softball field, you have the main track where there's a bunch of dudes out there, doing pull-ups and push-ups and all
Right.
the
Yeah.
super driven masculine type of energy.
Hmm.
And nobody's out there doing feminine practices like that.
Right.
So it was a really courageous experience that I had to unlock within myself. And it was really beautiful. We would go through the guided meditation, and then I would guide us through taking 3 breaths through each of the 7 chakras, starting at the root and go all the way up. And then after that, we'd be done, and it would just be just a really, really beautiful moment to be able to share that type of energy and what we can say is one of the darkest places in the whole world. So
Right.
through that like really launched me into a major activation of self-confidence and self-awareness of a higher purpose of my gifts. So then
Okay.
when I got out at the end of 2017, that was when I was inspired to, really create a logos or create something that could contain what it is I had to offer for the collective. And then that was the birthing of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness.
Okay. So then, okay. So when Sacred Light Healing and Wellness was created, was that the next endeavor of was that when your shamanic healing began to resonate for you, right?
So I would actually say when I became in tune with a um, shamanic connection within myself, that was actually back around 2015.
Okay.
Um,
So
so,
that's when it began back then.
mhm.
Did it met so then it alchemized. It started to what do you call that? Kind of like the phoenix. It began to rise and to uh, that's the prison sentence, and I'm so glad you brought it up because I was really going, this would really, I hope he brings that up because I want people to understand sometimes we take our gifts and utilize our gifts in the most darkest place, what we consider dark places, and
Yep.
it just shines the light on there. Right. So it was even alchemizing then. It was going through a fire. It it grew. It grew. Then when it went into this dark place, it just uh metamorphosed. It just kind of like the death of the phoenix and then the rebirth of it. It just bursted on the scene.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead, keep going. I'm loving it. Juicy, juicy, juicy.
you
Everybody
know,
hydrated.
it's 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 quite the story to share for me because there's a lot throughout my story that can relate to a lot of us as human beings. And, you know, people may be surprised, especially like the
Juicy,
way that
juicy.
you may see me now.
Everybody
Um, I've been through like what seems like lifetimes of lives already, and I'm only at 29. And I just have so much wisdom to share for people. So I'm really grateful. Um, so So yeah, I became attuned and became aware of not only my shamanic connection, but as well as my Egyptian connection as well in 2015.
okay.
And with that, I had 2 different psychic mediums that I'm still really connected to today that I had met at that time and came into my field. And my ears are ringing really loud right now. And
Wow.
so they had both, read through me, and they had read that, number one, I had these 2 main guides on my shoulders, so to say. And these 2 main guides from different lifetimes was one, a native Navajo shamanic elder named Lion Dressed Elder Sensei. And then on the other side was from ancient Egypt, Pharaoh King Tutankhamun.
Okay.
So when I had two different mediums from different parts of the world that had no relation to each other told me this, after I already started having like internal downloads and internal visions and feelings of being connected deeply to native shamanism as well as the Egyptian energies, it just became an awakening or an activation process within myself. So then after that, I would have, or plant medicine journey. We're using it, and I was taking it a lot. But at the same time, when I was taking that, it was opening my consciousness to different dimensions of myself. And when I was in those different dimensions, sometimes I would have past lives into my perception due to the way that the plant medicine or the psychedelic would open my consciousness up to those different dimensions of myself. So that would start happening after the readings that I had. And then around this time as well, in 2015, when I was in jail sitting on my rack, I was sitting up there at nighttime, and I was the only one awake in the whole entire cell or the whole entire pod.
Okay.
And during that day, I had just read a book about a psychic who had a radio show doing readings on his show. So nighttime came around, and something within me kind of like tells me, it's like, I bet do this as well. Like, if he can do it, I bet you can do it. And I take my hand and then I just set it on the paper. And then I basically
You're cutting in and
set
out
it there
for a second.
and then mentally let go of the pen that I'm holding in my hand, just limp.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing I know, I feel this energy start to move and write with my hand. And I'm literally like mentally still. I'm not even mentally thinking about it. And it's just happening. So then I start asking questions telepathically in my mind. And long story short, it ended up being my father's uncle. And after that, that was when I became aware that I was actually, opened up and gifted as a psychic medium channel. So then after that, I started channeling.
May I ask I ask how you utilize? I don't even call that a skill. I call that a spiritual. That's would that be clairvoyance as well? How do you bring that into service to, as Ra would say, service to all?
So it's formally traditionally called automatic writing.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, I would start channeling like Archangel Michael, the Great Mother Sekhmet, which is the feline humanoid goddess of Egypt, Ra, and many others, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene. And I just gradually continued to develop that more and more as I continued. And along with that, I also created the podcast back in 2019. Created my podcast with the intention for bridging community worldwide, as well as providing easier access to knowledge and wisdom for the collective so they can be self-empowered and be able to have the tools in their everyday life.
Okay. Yummy. So so this all started before your can we call it your incarceration, which you found out was a blessing, not a curse. And
Mhm.
now going to about 2020, you started, did I'm good, I might be incorrect, did you start doing also more ayahuasca ceremonies and whatnot, or do you do them as well? Are you providing those as well as part of your services to all? And guys, when I say service to all, Raw gives a, if you read the book, the raw material, he has the raw material. There's five books, and in the first book, Raw is channeling and channels that our souls are embarking on a journey up the polarity to merge back with the divine. And in that, as they're moving up these polarities, they have two choices that they get to make. They get to either choose, not make, but they get to either choose the service to others, which is service to all, which is the law of one or wholeness, and then serve the negative polarity, which is service to self. And you usually see that in people who we call like they're selfish. They don't care who they step over or climb over, but they just got to get theirs, and they got to make sure that they're okay. And so when I speak um, to Marcus and I say service to self, I'm talking about service to world, service to everyone, you know, for me, because for me, I want to serve. I want to serve my collective family, my soul family, but I also want to go back and serve the world, you know, because I sometimes, you know, you got to take a little bit of the light and shine it where the dark is. So that's why I always ask him that way, just so that you know what our lingo, his and my lingo are. I don't know anybody else's lingo. So with the ayahuasca ceremonies, did you start to, because I'm asking this because you said you overused, that's why you got where you got in that negative place that you got to shine light on. So did you find the correction that you needed, which I think would be ayahuascas and different ceremonies like that? Do you use that as to all, or I we learned last time in our raw, it's service to wholeness, right? And you're part of the whole, so you know.
Yeah, so um, I actually do not administer or facilitate any plant medicine ceremonies.
Okay.
It is something that I do offer with my 1-day home retreats that I started offering not that long ago. But with that, it's actually more of dosing of psilocybin. And
So
that microdosing of psilocybin is what medicinal and therapeutic benefits that to treat PTSD, trauma, attachments, as other woundings and pain that we may be holding on to in our system. But that is something that I haven't had scheduled or planned in yet, but it's something that is offered is a microdose of the psilocybin with a one. Um,
okay. Okay.
and yeah, I've actually never even embarked upon the ayahuasca journey at all yet. It's something that hasn't
Oh,
called
okay.
upon me. Um,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah,
So go ahead. I'm just having all these little questions pop up, and it's like, ooh, this is the perfect person to answer. If you are not following him on Instagram, please follow this young man. And YouTube, if you're just starting to follow me and you haven't followed him yet, you're starting to follow me, you got to follow him. We're a team. Okay. You know, I'm joking. We're not. It's not. You get him. You get me. You get him. You guys make free will choices, baby. I'm happy just to have him here, and he doesn't know how happy he was a busy guy. I was like, oh no, I want him. And I just kind of said, universe, I want him. Universe said, your wish is my command, Sandra. So anyway, okay. So psilocybin, I'm not sure, is that mushrooms?
Yes.
Microdoses of mushrooms, and that helps with PTSD. That also helps with other neurotic or tendencies, possibly, um, to help bring you to a kind of a one, to a uh, a moment of clarity. Well, getting to that quietness so that you can have a moment of clarity, so to speak, right? And that's what you do with your retreats. He just finished a retreat. I believe today was the last day of your retreat.
Yeah. It's actually still happening right now.
Ah, he fit me in his schedule. So
Yep.
I must be the bomb. He fit me in. Okay, so um sacred wellness. Let's hear a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness is, I guess the best way to just say is kind of like my logos, or it's my branding of, you know, basically a reference point for everybody on where to find and what type of umbrella to look for when it comes to what it is that I do and I offer. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really like to say that it's my business or it's my corporation or anything like that, because I mean, number one, it isn't even actually my corporation. It's not a corporation. And number two, I also don't really, mm, it's really, it's hard to
I know
explain
a
it,
better way
but
to I know a better way to explain it to him. Hey, Ra, explain logos.
yeah.
Let's channel Ra right now. Explain logos, right? And then
Well,
that will help them understand why it's not a corporation and why it's not really your job. Why you're doing this, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, naturally, I just created it basically as like a reference point, so to say, for people. And with that, it's just a reference point of, okay, so if I am involved with anything with sacred light, healing, and wellness, then this is what I'm going to look for, or this is type of intentions behind it. So that was like the reason why I created that. And with that, I created it out the intention of pretty much similar to the podcast, and that is being able to bridge community. And along with bridging community, helping people be able to become aware of the different things that they can do in their everyday life to become more conscious and more holistic with their approach to their life. And with that, I decided to make as many different avenues and many different ways as I can to be able to spread the knowledge and the wisdom, not only for myself, but for others in the collective and community as well.
Right.
So, with that being said, that's why I created my one on one services for people that want to go deep into their personal layers, that want to go deep into their struggles, into their traumas, into the wounds, into the patterns, and then created spaces like my podcast so people can come on, share their stories, share their wisdom, share their knowledge for the collective. And then I have different styles of podcasts that I produce for different intentions. And I have different shows that I produce as well with different intentions. Now, these are all conscious, holistic based at the foundation, but they all have different intentions and different type of energies to the space. And one of those podcasts I actually co-host with Sandy over here. called Ascending Beyond Limitations. And with that, that's kind of like my online content creating side. So I created the online content creating side out of the purpose of being able to reach people worldwide.
Yeah.
Because something about my experiences, not just with myself, but with some others, is some of us really have a hard time finding locally, in person, conscious community that we can connect with and resonate with. And it can be very tough sometimes, especially moving through an awakening or, being conscious for a good while and just not really having a healthy outlet to, transverse with and be able to
Yeah.
exchange energies with.
Yeah.
So that was one reason why I wanted to create online spaces, was to help bring that efficiently for people that just don't have that around them physically and locally.
Yeah.
Along with that, I also do lives. And in my lives, I like to teach the knowledge, hold the podcast, as well as demonstrate different Reiki practices and meditations step by step, and even explain how to do the things so that you at home can learn how to do Reiki on yourself or Reiki on your loved ones, or
Mm.
you can learn how to guide your own self through a meditation and the same exact steps that I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my main intention and the biggest thing out of all of it is I just really want to give the tools and the knowledge and the empowerment to every one of us, no matter who we are. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow. I don't care if you're male, female, child, elder, prison inmate, cop, whoever you may be. My intention is to share space and share love and knowledge for anybody that's open to receiving it. And it's developed some really beautiful connections for me worldwide. And now I'm at a point where, I have an online community that I host as well. And I'm basically in this space of bridging the local physical communities with the online worldwide communities. And it's a really, really beautiful thing to see. And I just want to continue to embody and embrace what is possible the more that we continue to open up to bridging
I
and
love that.
unifying with all things in life instead
I
of
love the
dividing and
bridging.
separating.
Yeah. I love the bridging. I love best word ever. Hold on. Sorry, guys. You know, sometimes the woman gets busy. I get a call. Hey, but you know what? You guys are more important. I just said they'll call me back or either they'll leave a message. All right. What I was saying is I love that word bridging. Bridging not only just the spiritual community, bridging for me is very important from where I came from, body and mind. I just kind of, for my spiritual was about awakening up, an awakening of knowing that I was triune, spirit, body, and mind. Because for me, I lived when I was a little girl, it was only that was only for God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost, and that was the Trinity. But before I was triune, I lived in the world, and I because someone else helped me allowed me to find something, uh, not when I was calling myself spiritual, but I was able to go online and go on YouTube and click and do like Marcus is talking about crossing a bridge. He's providing a bridge to, for all of the world to be able to cross over and to be able to unite, no matter what their religion, no matter what their religious background is, no matter or affiliations, because I believe Marcus understands that growth and expansion has to start somewhere, right? The next thing I'm going to ask you is, because when I met Marcus, he was really in, he's talking about a creator and creator content. He's a musician. All right. He creates his music. Not just beats. He writes his lyrics. And I want to talk, to me, that's a gift. I don't know whether to call it a spiritual gift or just, when have you been doing it since you were a kid and now you look at it and you go, oh, this must be this must be a gift, that now I understand it. What do you
Yeah,
do
so
you understand the question that I'm asking you? It's like a big question.
oh
Kapow.
yeah,
Okay.
I like the big questions. The
Mm.
Gemini in
Aren't
me.
they yummy? Mhm.
So that's a beautiful question too. Thank you. Um, so for me, I'd always had, the musical flow inside me. Like I'd always have energy flowing through me. I'd always be like tapping my fingers on stuff and just making rhythms with my mouth and moving inside of myself like that. And then I'd always had this like extra sense of just really picking up on like the rhythms and the airwaves behind music when I would listen to it. And it's almost like I would feel and sense every detail behind the creation of the music. So then around 20, yeah, it's probably 2015 as well. 2015 was a very, very expansive year for me. Um, I started trying to write. I started writing poetry,
Mhm.
and poetry is really where I started. And through that poetry, I then, mixed that poetry into what we call rap. And what rap means, if people don't know, in its original name and form, is rhythm and poetry. That is
Ah,
what rap means, RAP,
I
rhythm
did
and
not know
poetry.
that.
But it's been so adulterated and so messed with and, turned into a lower frequency in the mainstream world that it's lost sight of what the actual original thing is supposed to be. Which, if you go back to the beginning days of rap, which is like, the Sugar Hill Gang, people like that, Run DMC and all them,
Hmm.
they're, it's real. You can tell it's like it's rhythm and poetry. Like they're really just building a rhythm and making poetry of their everyday life and talking about it.
Yeah. It was the poetry, and guys, when I say statement, I don't mean political statements or whatnot. It was they were making um, they were making a statement of their perception of a way of life that they were living.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right. It's like it told a story. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it was I come from you have to okay, you understand me. I just tell everyone I was born 1957. I grew up in the 60s. Childhood was in the 60s, and young adulthood was in the 70s. And I in the through the late 70s, early 80s, 90s, I grew up with my kids with music. So I knew rap at its origins, when before there was rap, there was scat. I came in on when my mother and my uncles and stuff were listening to Ella Fitzgerald, and they were listening. So I came and I watched all of that. Not like I'm a you know what do you call it, I still believe I'm a novice. Okay. I can't go and critique anything, but I know what I like, and I know what I listen to, and I know how much how much uh, rap helped a lot of the people that were around me, because
hmm
a lot of people were rapping. They were writing down, they had notebooks of stuff, and they were writing it and putting it to music that already existed, and this was their form of meditation. Back to you, Marcus. Oh, I love
Back
that.
to me.
You know, I couldn't wait to say. I've been waiting to drop
That's
that
so
in
funny.
here.
Um, so yeah, I started writing poetry, and then it transitioned into rap. And 2000 and I think, yeah, 2015 was when I did my first recording ever. And my first recording I ever did was in my living room. No, it wasn't in my living room, it was my bedroom. And I had a laptop and a USB plug-in microphone.
Ah.
And I just took a beat off of YouTube. And it was actually, for all the old school rap fans, a Most Def beat, the
Hmm.
artist Most Def.
Yeah.
And I used one of his beats. Um, and I was writing down my lines, and then took my USB microphone, and then, hit the play button and record, and I just started flowing. And whew, the feeling that I had when I was expressing and allowing that to flow through
Hmm.
was very surreal.
Where
And
did it
then when I
take you?
heard it after, I was just like, wow, okay. Like, the words and the lyrics that I'm putting behind this can can really make people think, like,
Mm.
can really, turn people's minds and energy a little bit. So with that, I had a friend of mine, and we would kind of like freestyle and have fun with it and things of that nature. And we went to a studio together, and we recorded a song together. And ever since then, it was something that I knew was very natural and something I love to do. And one thing that I really liked about, being a music artist is the freedom of expression, the ability to be basically the person that's in lead of what it is that you express into that track. And I saw it as a outlet to be able to speak on the things that would go through my mind, the things that would go through my emotions
Mhm.
in many different ways, whether it was the things that I would observe, the things that I would find out about, maybe even conspiracy wise with the government, of things of that nature. Um, I found it as an outlet to be able to, sort of just like with everything else, be a bridge,
Yeah.
to be able to spread the messages of truth, to be able to spread messages that can cause people to critically think for themselves.
Hmm.
And that was really something I haven't really touched much in the last 5 years.
Oh,
2019
really?
was the last time I recorded.
Uh,
And I know the main reason why is because I started focusing more on my healing practices and really creating sacred light.
okay. Do you think you'll ever? Well, I think that's a conversation between you and the divine. But when you do have that conversation, do you think that's ever something that you will incorporate as a healing service? The 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 Marcus ChristoLight Robbins healing service with maybe a lyric, you know, doing a lyric in with the vibrational hertz, you know.
Mm,
Oh my God, doing affirmations, Marcus ChristoLight style. You
yeah.
know, so that, you know what I mean? To because that's what I always thought, I always wanted to do. I just wanted, I didn't really want to go in. Okay, how do I put this? I've always, ever since when I started having kids, I wanted something that they could, that they, as long as they were living, they could remember me by. when I'm not present in that life anymore, even though it's form based. And I always thought to myself, I would just love to go in the studio and just have fun singing a couple of songs that I enjoy and leaving it for them, right? And then of course when I started on my spiritual kind of journey, um in most recent, I think, around about the the time, just before the time that I actually came on your live on Instagram. The guys, the way I came on his live was, I hadn't planned on coming on him and his friends live. They were talking about the dream state and astral plane and everything, and I don't know how I got on it live, but there he was, and here is our 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 conscious connection, right? So it was about then. I was always thinking I would love light language plus the different hertz to actually be able to use as part of meditation. I wanted to be part of meditation, but also the meditations that I could lead for my kids, for them to utilize even when they're with their kids or their grandkids for as long as they want. I really didn't want it to like go around the world, but now I'm thinking, hey, yes, let me serve it up around the world.
Yeah.
Do you ever think of anything like that with your skill, or your ability, not ability, your skill, your talent? No, not talent. Your hmm, your oh,
I
I
know
know.
what you mean.
Okay, your divine grace. It's a gift, but it's divine, it's grace. That's what it's called, this gift. Having this music for so long, and then developing it, and then you know do you ever think you'll get back to doing something like that and giving it to, not, yeah, sharing it with the world?
Music, absolutely. Yeah. I definitely know I'll be back into, um, co-creating it and bring it out to the public for sure. It's already definitely been um, coming back up in cycles,
Hmm.
and right now for me, it's just about timing, so to say. So it's really just
Yeah.
about having the right space to be
Okay.
able to actually focus in and be able to be present and intentional with making the music. Because for
That
me,
was
I'm
good.
one of those people where it's like, if I'm not able to be intentional and I'm not able to be really connected to what it is that I'm going to create, especially create, then I just kind of pass on it for then, until I can actually be in that space to be attentive, focused, and really be able to channel what it is I want my intentions to be.
Right.
But I know
Yeah.
that space is coming soon. It's definitely coming soon because I got some people that I'm connecting with that I'm going to be doing some projects with, where I'm going to be using their singing instruments and then mix it in with guided meditation and
Mm,
things like that. So I'll also be doing that. I'll be working on blending guided meditations for myself and others. And I already have produced guided meditation audios on my YouTube channel, and I use affirmations in those as well.
yeah. Yeah. So guys, and understand that when he meant pass on something until the intention and the intention and action, they're in alignment, he doesn't mean give up on anything. Okay, it's not like giving up on your passions or your skills. Sometimes they do take you have to find that moment where everything resonates at a certain, I'll just say a certain octave, where you go, ah, it's time, right?
Yeah.
It's not about giving up. It's okay to put things on the back burner. You know, you have to discern why you're putting them on a back burner sometimes. But if you're putting on a back burner and through your discernment, you go, well, it's only because I'm scared. Then you discern, oh, I have fear. So the next thing is put it back on the front burner and go, what in this do I fear? You know, and that's for another show. Okay. So, but it's like this man is so multi-talented. Okay. Not multi-skilled and gifted, young, gifted, and black. I don't know the melody of that, and I can sing better in this in spirit, and I can sing to myself in the privacy, thinking I sing really well. I should get paid in private, okay, but it's not anything I'm gonna take on as a job and make money at, right? But just so gifted. So we're about at the hour mark. Will you tell people, these glorious people, the people that are going to be viewing this in replay and everywhere, where they can find you? Okay. And you're also, this young man is also on, he does have a page on Discord. I don't know if it's private or not, but you can also, contact him, find out about this. If you're looking for family, if it's like he said earlier, sometimes coming off of COVID, and this is the only time I'm going to use that word, because I'm really not going to, we're not going to talk anything negative or start any arguments about that or anything. COVID for me helped me. It was a catalyst that pushed me into moments of growth. Okay. But for a lot of people, COVID displaced them as far as community, as far as finding the proper channels to be to have growth and expansion in the human contact. All right. And just like Marcus said, he developed a way to bridge this gap so that it's not uncomfortable to be on Instagram or Facebook or any of the Discord or any of the other platforms, so that you feel comfortable doing it, right? You feel like, hey, I'm comfortable with this person. I can DM this person and ask a question and not get laughed at or scorned. I can.
Yeah.
He has these places. So I hope you have a pencil and paper and take down his information. He is also on YouTube. And come on, people, you got to follow him. Give them your name. Give them you've got two, I think. Is Sacred Kingdom still up as well? Or are you what's going on with that? Answer all those questions right now.
Yeah.
Back to you, Marcus.
So there's one YouTube channel right now. Sacred Kingdom it's created, but we're still waiting to put life into that. So there's not really anything there to connect with. But as far as connecting with me and being able to be in any of my sacred spaces, well, number one, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I have all those linked in on my main page, which is sacredlight33.as.me.
Okay.
So instead of .com, it's sacredlight33.as.me. That's all you have to type in to your web address.
Okay.
And then that will take you to my link page, where it'll just be one page laid out for you. It'll say Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Reishi Coffee, because I'm also a distributor of Reishi Coffee as well. And then also book services. So you can look at my services through that link page as well. And you just click on or tap on whichever category or section where you see that logo or that name of
Okay.
YouTube, Instagram, so on and so forth. And then it'll
Okay.
take you directly to the page.
Okay. One more
Along with
time.
that, I go
Repeat that.
live. What's that?
One more time. Repeat that for them. For them. Sacred Light
Oh,
33.
sacredlight33.as.me.
All right. All right. Keep going.
Yep. And then you guys can watch me live on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube whenever I do my podcast and other activities as well. I do guided meditations live. And my meditations, they're pretty interesting. I'll do like ancient Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, and a lot of others as well. So then along with that, the YouTube channel is Sacred Light Healing and Wellness for everybody out there. Like I said, you can find it on the link page, but if you just want to type it in and look it up, it's Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And
Right.
then I have a podcast, guided meditations, a couple of shows on there that you guys can all tap into at any time. And then I also do donation-based online workshops. So right now I'm currently doing workshops on the chakras, and coming up on, I believe it's the 23rd. Yeah, no, the 24th. 2 weeks directly from now. So 2 Saturdays from now on the 24th, I'll be holding a donation-based online throat chakra workshop where I'll be educating us on the throat chakra, how to identify blockages in that chakra and how they can manifest in our life. And then we do some journaling as well to
Oh,
identify any blockages in our throat chakra personally. And then after that, I lead us through a guided meditation to help clear out and bring some healing to the throat chakra. So that's everything. If you're someone local in Ohio or you like to travel, I also in person physically am a part of festivals, retreats, and events quite often. And you can always catch me out there doing teachings, facilitating, vending, or hosting as well.
right. Ah, yes. And you had mentioned that you do your Reiki coffee. And forgive me, I was going to ask about that for you to, because that's part of your gifts, talents, and skills. Is he knows he know he knows nutrition, and he knows how to. He's not a physician, right? But if you got a question about what might work for your body, you can have a conversation with him, right? And
Absolutely.
he can lead, he can give you his best perception of what might possibly help you, because everything is infinitely possible under the sun, and you are a unique individual, expressing human that might need a little something that he has, right? Could you tell us a little bit about your, he can't give you his secrets, but he can tell you about his coffee.
About what?
Your the coffee, the or the Reiki, or
Uh,
the
I can
coffee.
real quick, but I have to get going though.
Yeah. So we'll be
So the
well.
coffee that I'm partnered with, it is organic reishi coffee. So it's
Mhm.
organic coffee, and then it has organic reishi mushroom in it. And
Ah,
reishi mushroom is a superfood herbal supplement that is able to help regenerate, repair, and heal our being on a holistic and multidimensional level. So with that being said, it helps neutralize the coffee from being acidic as well as overstimulating. It takes away jittery effects, crashing, and other things as well. And this is something that you guys can always browse and check out as well through my website that is
okay.
linked in on that link page with all the other links. And you guys can check that out anytime. The company is called Organo, just so you guys know and are aware. And there's all sorts. There's black coffee, latte, mocha, and some other stuff as well.
All right. Well, let's everyone thank Marcus, ChristoLight,
Hmm.
channeler of Raw, and many others. All right. Let's thank him for being part of this soul talk. I thank him because He was a very busy man, and he fit us into his schedule. Thank you so much. I'm so very, very grateful. And you can check it out in replay on my YouTube. And hey, this is new to me, so I'm going to try to figure out how to get him as a collaborator on this so that you can check it out on his YouTube. Figuring that out as I go. Thank you so much for being a part of my live talk show. If you've liked any of this, if this has been a help to you, I'm new with this. I'm new with this plug. Okay, follow me, right? Share me with others. Follow Marcus. Share Marcus with others. Connect with me on Instagram. Connect with me on Spotify. I don't have that down here yet, but Spotify is Soul Conversations with Sandra. You can get me anywhere. Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. I'm everywhere, right? I'm here for you. So everyone, be blessed. Have a great weekend. Thank you so, so much. Peace. One
Thank you,
love.
everybody. Wholeness.
Thank you.